Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're diving into Greg Elkan's Word for Today devotional, specifically his series on 2 John.
Right.
It's a remarkably short book. Tiny, really.
But Elkan suggests it holds these profound lessons that often just get completely missed.
Yeah, overly.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how Elkan uses this specific text, this neglected one, to shine a light on broader patterns. Patterns in how we engage with information.
Exactly. Not just religious texts, but all sorts of stuff. He points out this tendency we have to look for what benefits us personally.
Right.
Or maybe, mistaking something sensational for the actual truth.
Yeah, that makes sense. So get ready for some, hopefully, aha moments. These should not only illuminate this specific little book, but maybe challenge how you think about interpretation and information more broadly. So Greg Elkan starts out, he basically calls 2 John the least familiar book in the Bible, probably.
Probably. He hedges a bit.
He does. But why would such a short book be so obscure? Elkan's argument is, well, it's because many people, when they go to the Bible, they aren't looking for what it says for itself, but for what it says for them. It's about what we want to find.
And that's striking, isn't it? How Elkan connects that right away to a universal human thing. We filter information. We just do.
Through our own desires, yeah. Through our desires, our priorities. And it leads to a really important question for you listening right now. When you're seeking knowledge, any kind of knowledge, what are you prioritizing?
Is it that immediate relevance, the personal benefit?
Or are you pushing for maybe a deeper, fuller understanding of the source itself?
It's a great question. And Greg, he really hammers this point home with some examples. Like, he observes that many Christians only know 2 John even exists because of 1 John, which is longer and better known.
Sure.
And especially because of that really popular prosperity verse in 3 John. You know the one.
Oh, yeah, 3 John 1.2, about prospering in health.
That's the one. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health. You know the rest. Elkan notes that people quote that verse like 1,000 times each day. But they often give blank scares if you ask them what the rest of 3 John is even about.
That's quite telling, isn't it?
He also compares it to Obadiah, another super short book.
Old Testament this time.
Right. So you might think 2 John is ignored just because it's short. But Obadiah, even though it's by an unknown minor prophet, Elkan says it gets quoted more.
Why?
Because it has a line people like, something about getting to possess their possessions.
Ah, okay. So if it has a catchy, beneficial phrase,
it gets remembered, even if it's short and obscure otherwise. So what's the implication for 2 John then? If it doesn't seem catchy or prophetic, does it matter?
Well, Elkan definitely thinks it does.
Yeah, he emphasizes what he sees as a core principle from 2 Timothy 3.16.
All scripture is given by inspiration of God.
Right. And from Elkan's perspective, that means 2 John 2 is profitable for doctrine, reproof, correction, instruction, all of it.
It has inherent value, basically, even if you have to dig a little deeper to find it.
Okay, so if it's overlooked but valuable, what's the message we're missing? Elkan moves on to highlight that despite the neglect, 2 John contains this really fundamental, enduring theme.
Oh.
Love.
Oh, okay.
He points straight to verse 5. Not as though I wrote a new commandment unto you, but that which we had from the beginning, that we love one another.
And what's interesting there is how Elkan notes that, much of this message about love is echoed elsewhere, especially in 1 John.
So it's not new.
Exactly. He sees it not as redundant, but as proof of its foundational importance. It's so important it keeps showing up. It's a core idea.
And Greg shows this isn't just John's thing either. He presents it as like a bedrock principle across the Bible. He brings up Jesus in Matthew 22.
The greatest commandments.
Yeah, loving God and loving your neighbor. Jesus says on these, hang all the law and the prophets. That's pretty central.
It didn't get much more central than that.
Then he points to Paul in Romans 13.8, saying, he that loves another has fulfilled the law. Love fulfills the law. And Elkan even brings in St. Augustine. Love and do as you will.
Right.
Greg clarifies that, saying, if you're truly walking in what he calls biblical love, your will naturally aligns with God's will, as Elkan interprets it.
It really does solidify that idea of core principles, doesn't it? In any complex system science, ethics, theology, as Elkan shows here, you find these foundational truths that just keep surfacing.
They define the whole thing, really.
Yeah, they provide the structure, the enduring meaning.
Okay, speaking of things often misunderstood,
Mm-hmm.
Elkan really goes after our popular ideas about the Antichrist. He draws a sharp line between, pop culture and what he sees as the scriptural reality.
This should be interesting.
Greg observes, when the average Christian today hears the term Antichrist, what comes to their mind is the image of an ultra-evil, power-hungry tyrant.
Right, the movie villain type.
Exactly. Influenced by apocalyptic movies and novels like the Omen series or the Left Behind franchise. We all kind of picture that, don't we? The ultimate bad guy.
We do, but Elkan draws a stark contrast. He argues the actual biblical use of Antichrist is, well, almost tame compared to that.
Tame. How so?
Well, Elkan emphasizes the term only shows up in John's letters, 1 John and 2 John.
Not Revelation. That's surprising to many, I think.
Definitely. He stresses it's not in Revelation, and crucially, according to Elkan, it doesn't refer to one single future uber evildoer.
So, what does it refer to?
Elkan explains it refers to many deceivers who were already present back in John's time, plural, and present then.
Okay, so how does Elkan actually define an Antichrist then?
He clarifies it refers to any current person or teaching that denies Jesus is the Christ or refutes his incarnation.
Incarnation meaning God becoming human in Jesus.
Right, that theological concept. So anyone denying that core idea is an Antichrist, in John's terms, according to Elkan.
Wow. So Elkan argues our fascination with end-time stuff, our phantastic eschatology, makes us look for this.
Cinematic supervillain.
Yeah. Instead of guarding against what he calls real present heresies that are eating into the church, it really shifts the focus, doesn't it, from the future to right now.
It's a powerful point Elkan makes about how external stories, sensationalism, can really warp our understanding of core ideas.
We look for the drama.
We do. And maybe miss the subtle, but in Elkan's view, equally important truths right in front of us. Elkan explicitly says we should value truth over sensationalism and read the Bible for ourselves rather than depend on charismatic preaching and commercial profits.
Get back to the source material, basically. And building on that, Greg digs into why this specific biblical definition of Antichrist is so critical for him. He links it straight to the definition of heresy.
Okay.
It's not just a side point for him, it's doctrinally central.
And he makes this really crucial distinction, linguistically almost. He explains that Jesus is a name, like Joshua, a common name,
Right.
But Christ from the Hebrew Messiah, that's a title.
A title.
Bro.
Okay, why is that distinction so vital for Elkan? What's the significance? Well, according to Greg, that distinction means everything. He defines Christ as the title for the person who, in his theological framework, was destined to solve the sin problem from Eden.
The promised solution.
Exactly. The one he believes the law and prophets pointed to, who would be God himself. Elkan even says Christ represents the hope of humanity that every human religion directly or indirectly yearns for, like a universal ache for a divine answer.
And that's why any attack on Jesus being the Christ is the most dangerous heresy. Elkan's reasoning is that if you mislead people about who Jesus is specifically, denying he's the Christ, you're effectively cutting them away from the only solution to their sin problem and their only hope of eternal life. He ties this directly back to 2 John 1.7.
So it's about salvation itself, in his view.
It strikes right at the core of the belief system he's describing.
And this is where Elkan's argument really lands, I think. He stresses that ignoring this precise understanding the difference between the popular Antichrist and the biblical one, the importance of Jesus as the Christ, he calls it theologically unscrupulous.
Strong words.
And doctrinally dangerous.
Yeah.
Because, he argues, it shifts our focus away from a present problem.
The heresy's happening now.
To a future fantasy.
Yeah.
We end up chasing shadows, maybe,
Yeah.
and missing the real issues right here.
It's a really clear illustration of why precise definitions matter, isn't it? Understanding the fundamental building blocks, whether it's theology, science, law, whatever.
Yeah, getting the core concepts right.
Because misinterpreting a key idea, as Elkan highlights here, can have these huge ripple effects. It can pull your attention away from what actually matters, right here and now, towards something maybe less relevant, or even, as he puts it, imagined.
So, wow, we've really dived into Greg Elkan's take on 2 John.
Yeah.
From why it's so often ignored to its core message of love, and then this pretty powerful redefinition of Antichrist and heresy.
There's a lot packed into his analysis of such a short book.
Definitely. And there are some key takeaways from his devotional that I think resonate much wider than just this one text. First, Elkan's point.
Yeah.
Don't write off sources just because they don't immediately scream relevance or give you what you were initially looking for.
There's value even in the quiet corners.
Right. Second, those foundational principles, like love in this case, they keep showing up. They're reinforced across different texts, forming the bedrock.
Consistency matters.
Third, Elkan's warning about sensationalism. Be wary of those big, dramatic narratives. They might obscure the real, maybe less flashy present challenges. Looking for the supervillain might mean missing the everyday heresies, as he calls them.
Focus on the real over the fantastic.
And finally, Elkan's work just underscores how vital precise definitions are. Getting those core concepts right is crucial to avoid getting sidetracked or misunderstanding the whole picture.
And if we pull back to the bigger picture, Elkan's deep dive into 2 John really serves as a powerful reminder for all of us, I think, whatever subject we're interested in.
Which is?
Cultivate a discerning mind, really question the narratives, don't let popular opinion or just your own preferences overshadow the quiet wisdom you might find in those overlooked places.
Good advice.
Which leads to a final question for you, listening. What other ignored sources or maybe misunderstood concepts, perhaps in your own field or interests, might be holding profound truths just waiting for you to uncover them?
This was an audio recording of Elkan's Word for Today, the devotional for growing believers by Greg Elkan. For more information and other edifying resources or to listen to previous episodes, visit us at www.gregelkan.com. That's GREGELKAN.com. You can send your comments or questions by WhatsApp or Telegram to +234 813 664 2912. God bless you.